G'day, how you going? It is the weekend, so let's take a look at some fun stuff down under. Look at this lizard from the Pilbara. Let me put it in full screen, actually. Take a look at this. This thing is actually pretty cool. Ooh, look at that one. Yo, that's actually crazy how initially he kind of blends in. You can see, of course, that red soil is kind of like on his tail and his back, which is pretty wild. Freaky, but cool at the same time. You know, wouldn't be scary to see. It would just be startling at first. When we lived in New Mexico, we lived right on the edge of this neighborhood right next to this, the virgin desert right there. And quite a few times when I'd go out to open the garage and pull the cars out, if we were going somewhere, I saw something scurry away. I looked, and it was usually, not exactly like this, but it was a lizard of some sort, and it was pretty funny seeing it in the desert, of course. Not something I really see here in Illinois. I'm sure these ones are the same way. I'm amazed at how fast these things are, by the way. Now, this is cute. This is an echidna in someone's yard, I believe, in Bradenwood, New South Wales. I'm sorry, Braidwood. I just checked. Yeah, well, get a look at this thing. just chilling right underneath the plants there, sticking his cute little face out. That is hilarious. This post is titled, "I feel bad for countries that don't have these." These, of course, being, you guessed it, Anzac biscuits. These are divine, I do have to say. I've been very lucky to have tried, some of the ones you can buy, I think, at stores throughout Australia, and of course some homemade ones. And yeah, these are really, really solid. They're just good and warm and hearty. I love them. Seems like these days, even in Australia, of course, everywhere here in America, I could show you plenty of pictures. Seems these days everything is expensive. Look at this. You can't even get what usually would have been cheap cereal, you'd think, years ago. Cocoa Pops, right? I love how it says $11.80. By the way, don't think that's very cheap, in my opinion. And I love how they have that price, and they have a big red tag. Low price. Low price for Cocoa Pops, only $11.80, like, geez Louise, man. Totally taking away the significance of this low price badge, right? I mean, you see that, it doesn't even matter anymore. McDonald's restaurants, or should I say Macca's, unable to process payments across Australia due to an IT outage. Oh my God, that's, I wonder how long that was down, because this post is from 19 hours ago as of the time I'm recording this. I wonder how long it was down, and, how much does that really affect? I imagine quite a bit. I mean, trust me, they're a big corporation. I don't think they're going to, go under from this. Of course not. But just for numbers' sake, it is pretty interesting knowing, because when I worked at, of course, Chrysler, an assembly plant, there was figures that we were, shown, like when the line was down for certain things, like when something would happen, when there was some sort of issue, when something would break on the line, whatever, even part shortages, whatever it be. If the line was down for like an hour, that would be a loss of like something crazy, like $500,000 or something. They, some sort of figure. I can't remember the exact figure, but yeah, I'm sure they lost a lot of money on that. Now, this is kind of funny. I'm going to go full screen again. This says, "What does this taste like?" This was someone's dessert in the Royal Melbourne Hospital. All we're told is Rizzo Desserts, Australian flavored dessert, made fresh in Melbourne, gluten-free, contains milk. That's all you get. So it's kind of a little bit of a mystery if you think about it. Let's go to the comments. Siggy's, thongs, beer, and tire burnouts. That's one guess on what this could be flavored like. Okay, I'd say it's plausible. Bunning snags. Somehow sounds nicer than what I actually tasted. Australians, obviously, just like baby oil, taste like babies. And Mexican spice tastes like Mexicans. Mosquito repellent. Succulent Chinese meals and VB long necks at 20 to 8 in the morning. Here we have a picture of this snake. This thing is like hella shiny, by the way. And in this exact spot, kind of blends in. So again, I think you guys probably know this, especially if you're watching from Australia. But yeah, keep an eye out there. Watch every step, because you never know where these guys are hiding. That thing is pretty big, in my opinion, although it might be small for Aussie standards. But yeah, it's decent size, very shiny, and can blend in. And yeah, you wouldn't want to step on that, right? You don't want to piss them off when you're just trying to walk around. And just in from yesterday, Grant Page. Anyone remember that name? He was an iconic Australian stuntman. is officially passed away at 85 years old. The doyen of the Australian stunt industry passed away yesterday. Grant worked on some of the most iconic Aussie car movies, including Mad Max, The Man from Hong Kong, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and Road Games, to name a few. Look at this awesome screenshot from, of course, Mad Max, with literally this car right here. It's in the bottom one. Really awesome shot there. And being a stuntman, I mean, what a job, right? Especially this guy's career sounds amazing. Sounds like he definitely had a fun, fulfilling career and a long life. I mean, people even said in the comments he was doing stunts when he was 83. I mean, that's one crazy career for sure. So yeah, Grant Page, good on ya. Yeah, I'm sure many people appreciated some of these stunts and very iconic scenes. Even I recognize, some of these movies here and I've literally seen some of these myself. Sounds like a really thrilling and awesome guy. So he will be missed. These seem to be in almost every episode as well now, going out to eat. Man, if you're a fan of that, it is through the roof expensive as well. It's definitely one thing we barely ever do now because it's just ridiculous, man, how expensive it can be. For the doubters, yes, I really paid $77 for 2 egg and bacon rolls and the 2 iced coffees at a Darwin beachside cafe yesterday. Now, I do know that Darwin is relatively isolated, right? Like way up there in the northern coast. I don't know if that plays a part into it. You guys can maybe explain down below. But, I mean, is this normal for this kind of 2 egg and bacon rolls, 2 iced coffees? I mean, this sounds hella steep. And I know Australian prices differ a little bit compared to U.S. just because of the dollar value difference. So I know $77 would actually be around maybe like $50 here. But still, that sounds really expensive, even for what I've experienced. So I think I've never had something that minimal and paid that much. That's craziness. There's even that $7 Sunday charge on there. That is something they're slipping in there, it seems to be, in Australia. Slipping in like, oh, you came on a Sunday? Well, hey, you're going to pay for it. Whew, it's getting pricey out there, guys. So someone was taking a walk. I'm not sure exactly where in Australia, but they came across this hedge. The thing is hilarious and kind of like on the verge of like, okay, it's kind of cute and funny, and also it's a little bit terrifying just because it's really big. And you wouldn't expect to see this when you're out for a walk. So yeah, you're like, is my mind playing tricks on me or not? Can't sleep, hedge will eat me. Keep your eye out for Mario or Luigi, or perhaps Princess Peach might make an appearance. Put some red LED lights in the eyes. Oh, that would finish it right there. That would be freaky with some red eyes. This is pretty shocking considering the big education I've had about how most places around the world, especially Australia, does not have to tip. It's not a thing, right? Whereas here, it's such a thing that it used to, it's always been here in restaurants, right? And that I don't see ever going away just because, contrary to popular belief, whether I like it or not, or whether customers like it or not, a lot of workers at restaurants do like tips. Now, some don't. Some really do because they end up doing really well for, stellar service and stuff. But that aside, tipping is becoming pretty toxic because it's now everywhere. Now you go to some sort of just stores and, markets and drive-thrus where no one's, waiting on you, right? Like you just go into the drive-thru, you're handing money over and they hand you a drink and there's a thing for a tip. It's like, what? The tipping thing is getting out of control. Obviously, I say no. Most people I know say no. And these random other places that tipping's appearing, because that's just way overboard. It's ridiculous. Asking for a tip in situations where customers do a lot of work, it doesn't make any sense. It's goofy. That's not going to fly. Well, this is about the second post I've seen on here. I haven't highlighted all of them yet, but I figured I'd throw this one on there. This is for an online pharmacy in Australia. Someone says like every time they check out now, there's a tip thing on here. And I was really shocked to see that because, it seems pretty universal and conclusive that tipping is not going to fly in Australia. People are, generally very against that. And you're going to have to stick with that because some of these places are trying to get away with this now. And I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, tipping for an online pharmacy order, that just sounds ridiculous to me. I mean, who are you even tipping for this? I mean, I'm assuming this person did not tip, but I'm saying in theory, who are you tipping? It's an online thing. That just sounds sketchy. Now, I don't know how much stock you put into lists like this, but these are apparently the best beaches in the world for 2024. And you have to admit, Australia coming in real, real hot. The number one best beach, Palm Cove, Australia. I mean, it looks beautiful in that picture. We'll have to take a look for ourselves in a second. Then we have Hanapu Beach in Hawaii, Brecon, Shetland, UK, Watego's Beach, Australia, Ora Beach, Indonesia, Monavale in Australia, and I am horrible at French, but something like Dune de Palas in France. I honestly have not really heard of any of these, but there is your best beaches. Do you agree? And how proud of Australia are you? I mean, they got 3 of the top 7. I actually did not know that you guys had these huge heavy-duty trucks in Australia. These are huge, by the way. This is like the brand new, like newest gen GM. So this is, I believe, a Chevy in this case. A Chevy. It looks to be a 2500 HD or maybe even a 3500 HD. It's not even a long box either. This is the medium size or like standard box with a full crew cab. So it's a pretty long truck. You can get a full crew cab and an 8-foot long bed as well. That's even more monstrous. But I wanted to mention that these trucks, I imagine, probably don't get a popular reputation in Australia because they're huge. And let me just say, as a truck guy, I do like trucks, but I'm not a big fan at all of these newer trucks. I have an old truck, and I love it, and I'm still going to keep it. I really don't like the new stuff. They're just too big and bulky. I don't like the design on these, man. Like, you have to understand that even American trucks, when we're talking like 90s, early thousands, they looked so good, and they weren't this big. They were actually small compared to this. And they were nearly as capable. That's what's funny. It's like these are just big, bloated messes. I don't know what's going on with our auto industry here lately in the last few years, but it is bad. I mean, this is just a bloated mess. And I imagine this is really hard to park because even here in the U.S., where we're known for giant parking spaces, this does not fit in a standard parking space. It's just too damn big. The caption says, "Mate, can I see your ID?" Look at this bird trying to get a stab at this beer right here. I love it. Even the birds down under know how to have a good time. I thought this was a pretty interesting map. This is Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere, the percentage of people in the world where they live. Look at this. 87% of humanity lives in the Northern Hemisphere. I think that's actually pretty wild. To be fair, look at the landmass. I mean, there's definitely a lot more going on the top half than the bottom, but I still think that's crazy. And Australia doesn't even make up most of the Southern Hemisphere. I think most of that would go to, I believe, Indonesia has a lot of people, right? And then, of course, Brazil is really big as well. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting, especially if you're watching from Australia, New Zealand, wherever. You're part of the Southern Hemisphere, and I've always been fascinated by it because I think there's a lot of parts of it that are different. And I guess it's really the exclusive club to be in because, boy, it's rare. Most people aren't in the Southern Hemisphere. I thought this was pretty interesting. This is another cool map. This is the number of native hummingbird species by country. I did not realize that basically, unless I'm blind, all of these hummingbirds are in the Americas, basically. From way up here in the northern parts of Canada all the way down to the southern tip of South America, with the most being kind of right in the middle there. I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize that hummingbirds basically weren't anywhere over here in any other continent. So that's kind of interesting. I did not know that. Ever into or interested in cacti or, of course, the cactus? I actually didn't even know this. It's way more common than you might think. This is the green part. The green part is the range of cacti in the Americas. Basically all of South America, Central America, and most of the United States, even into Canada. Fun fact, here in Illinois, you wouldn't expect that, especially on the shores here of Lake Michigan. There are tons on the Illinois beaches. There are actually tons of prickly pear cacti all over the place, and that's really funny. You would normally think of maybe Texas, New Mexico, Arizona for that. Of course, they have them in huge bunches down there. It's pretty spectacular. But you can find it in most of the U.S., even into Canada. I actually didn't realize that, so that's pretty cool. I also understand that if you're watching from Australia, I did a video a long time ago where I believe that was somehow, I don't remember if it was like some weird sketchy thing or if it was accidentally introduced or something, but it kind of was introduced to Australia from the Americas and went out of control because clearly they do well in Australia, and it was a pretty wicked thing for a while. Now, this is pretty mind-blowing. Someone walked around Australia's perimeter. If that doesn't sound absolutely crazy to you, I don't know what does. That is a long walk. Let me tell you, that's a hell of a walkabout. Aidan de Bruin, when walking around Australia, he left Sydney on September 20th, 1921, and walked 16,190 kilometers, or 10,000 miles about. He completed his journey on March 4th, 1924, 100 years ago today, which this was actually about 10 days ago. He kept a diary about it as well. I mean, look at that route. That is actually insane. I love the comment, the top comment. Dude went that far out of his way to visit Darwin, but didn't want a bar of Canberra. He did totally skip Canberra, by the way. To be fair, I guess there wasn't much to Canberra back then in 21. So it was only founded in 1913 after all. So it was pretty new and probably not that established yet. And then finally, to end it here, another map, electricity grids of Australia. The Perth grid, southwest corner, is the largest isolated grid in the world. That's a pretty interesting fact. Most of the other central and western grids are for mines, as you can see there. Those are pretty fascinating. These lines, of course, are electricity transmission lines. And then the beige is Australian mainlands. Look at this. That's pretty cool, dude. Seeing that grid there connecting Tasmania. Oh my God. That is really interesting seeing that broken down. I've never seen a map like that about really anywhere, especially Australia. You know, just more proof on another level that Perth is the most isolated, you know, bigger city in the world, man. It's crazy. Hey, I'm throwing in a bonus clip here. Yeah, I lost the hat. Don't mind my hat here. I couldn't resist putting this in there. I found this after the fact. This is from Australia 3 days ago. Big W Marketplace. You're aware of that store, correct? It's currently selling a beginner's tattoo kit. Well, I mean, we live in a day and age where shopping is a very odd experience. It could be really good or it could be really weird. And this is pretty funny. I mean, it's got a 1-star review. No surprise there. Beginner tattoo kit, machine gun, power supply, needles, ink, grip. For $111, you can have your own tattoo kit. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like, well, not the best idea. It seems like tons of websites now, random stores like this, you know, Amazon, you name it, right? There's just some weird stuff out there that, quite frankly, shouldn't even be for sale or is just makes you scratch your head a little bit. You know, the whole AliExpress is really working its way into a lot of different outlets, I feel like now. I love this comment. I'm reminded of a Reddit question. What would you do if you had a real lightsaber? Wisely, most people said, die. I would die. Beginner's tattoo kit is $111. Beginner's tattoo removal kit is $1,111. So yeah, I mean, look, don't take my word for it. You know, I'm just a random American dude, but yeah, I would say be on the safe side. Go to a licensed, you know, educated tattoo place with a tattoo artist, you know, whose whole career has to do with this. You know, I'm not anti-tattoo. Just get it done the right way. You know, I have tattoos, and they cost quite a bit because they were done in a, you know, safe, qualified environment. So, and then finally, we'll end it with this one. These are some odds and ends from like an Australian archive or something. I mean, I just love looking at old photos. We have whole episodes where we do this. So I'll have one of those coming up soon. But look at this. Postman at Campbell, ACT, 1970. It's actually a really good picture. I mean, it looks like clear and colorful. So that's pretty cool to see, I have to say. This is Australia Day, Canberra, 1991. Look at the 90s in full swing, right? You could just see it in the fashion. The big hair, right, was still there kind of from the 80s a little bit. Pretty cool to see as well. And boy, I yearn for those times again. I feel like, I don't know, at least here in the U.S., the world was a lot better back then. Up and coming slobs. A slob apparently is a man who drinks 6 middies or more in an hour and then attempts to drive. Stop a slob from driving. This was all the way back in 1974. The slob campaign, or should I say anti-slob campaign. Princess of Wales, Canberra, 1985. Look at that. Again, with a really clear picture. It's so clear it almost makes me think like this was taken 2 years ago. It's pretty cool when you see pictures in this good a shape and they're that clear. Something about old film can be really impressive. Canberra, 1990, again, with that late 80s, early 90s vibe. You know, everyone's got the band T-shirts and the plaid tied around their waist and stuff. I mean, this is just so quintessential 1990 right here. This one I find insane. This is a camera concealed in a cigarette pack from 1970. This is what crazy stuff that some of us don't even know exists, that they've had forever. This is in 70 from the Australian Security Intelligence Organization. Look at how sneaky that is. That is wild, right? It looks so legit. This is, again, from the Australian Security Intelligence Organization. This is a Steinbeck ABC wristwatch camera. I mean, guys, this actually blows my mind. What kind of tech do secret, military and secret societies and stuff have? This freaks me out. I mean, this is advanced for 49 in my opinion. Look at that. It's a wristwatch camera from the 40s. And of course, Cooper Petty in the 60s with the famous underground homes. I mean, look at that. That looks like it could be a set in a TV show or something. It's just, I don't know. It's very interesting to me. What an image. There's also a lot more of these. I'll end it on this one, though. This was pretty cool. This is the late 1960s, just somewhere random in Australia. And I have to say the style back then, it just looks cool, man. The 60s, right? So groovy, right? The girls, man, they looked good back then. It's a really cool style. Doing anything fun this weekend, let me know in the comments. Of course, at Formula One, if you are a racing fan, Formula One is in Australia. As we speak, I believe. So that's pretty cool. You have to let me know if you are going to that event. That's about it for this one. I appreciate you watching. That being said, y'all, my name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, I'll catch you later.